everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Lou here, and I got an interesting topic to, go back and forth with you all on. Care to see what you think about it. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share this channel, and above all, make sure you comment on this thing so we can go back and forth, have some good discussion about what you think scary should be. The horror genre. Who doesn't like a good scary movie? I know I do. I can watch scary movies every day of the year. It just doesn't have to be on Halloween, because I always love putting on a good one, just because they're fun to watch. So I got to really thinking about the horror genre and how many genres are out there. Did you know that last time I looked, there was like 33 horror genres out there? Yeah, it's a lot. It's crazy. But some of them kind of overlap each other, because that's one thing about the horror genre is a lot of these genres actually do overlap on top of each other. And so it's really hard to keep them all separate. So after doing some research, there's actually 8 subgenres in the horror genre that I was going to go into. And I figured what fun thing would be than to rank what the horror genre is according to me. All right, some of you guys will argue, this would be the fun part, about what you think is scary versus what I think is scary, because let's be honest, horror and scary are very subjective. I was lucky, I'm gonna date myself here, but I was born in 74, so I've gotten to go through a lot of different movies that came out from the time I was born to now and really see the horror genre evolve. It's pretty interesting to watch scary movies today as compared to when they, back in the day, as they say. Because let's just be honest, in today's society, it's hard to scare people because the internet has really desensitized us, because you can find everything on these phones. So it makes it hard to scare anybody. But once in a while, a good movie will come out that is actually really good, and it's, got some scare factor to it. But they're so far and few between, just because it's really hard to find that area to be able to, it takes a really talented director and writer to be able to put out a really good, scary movie. With that being said, I have this list here, the top 8. And every week I'm going to put out a video where within each subgenre, I'm going to rank my top movies in that subgenre, and at the very end I'm gonna do a bracket where I take the number ones and put them all in and clash with each other, see if I can't rank the top movies in each one and see which one is, in my opinion, is the overall scariest one. Rotten Tomatoes put out their list, their top 10 scary movies, and they use some database and some data to be able to pull from. And it was pretty interesting, because even looking at, there's movies that came out in late 2000, like 2010, 17, that were scary, pretty good. And, there was some that came out back in the 70s that still hold up to this day. So it's gonna be very fun to do this. So let's get into it. Let's rank the top 8 sub-movie horror genres. Let me name them out, and so in no particular order, so you don't think I'm giving it away prematurely. You've got the monster genre, you've got the psychological, you've got the body horror, you've got the comedy horror, found footage, you've got the gore, and you've got the slashers and the paranormal. Those are the 8 overall genres within the horror universe. Of course, like I said, there's 33 of them, but I'm not going to go through all 33 because, again, they all overlap. So let's get into it. Coming in at number 8 on the list is comedy horror. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh man, are we really starting off with the very bottom? That's it? It's like, well, again, this is my list, and comedy horror is really good. Don't get me wrong. There's always been really good comedy horror ones out there. Like, for example, Shaun of the Dead comes to mind. One of the best movies out there because it's funny, implements zombies in it, and it's just a really good movie. But when truth be told, if I'm looking for a scary movie, that's not my go-to unless, it just happens to show up on my list when I'm getting ready to watch a movie. I might throw it on there, but not too often, because it is a really good one. But, Zombieland comes to mind also, as far as another comedy horror movie. And, some people have that way up on their list, but in my case, it starts off at number 8. Coming in at number 7. This one was a little hard, but I think it belongs where it needs to. Body horror. What is body horror? Well, let's keep it simple. It's those cringy movies that, that the human body goes through all kinds of, it gets messed up or goes through changes and whatnot. And, because of some outlying factor, a very good one that's pretty gross is, Jeff Goldblum's The Fly. That one comes to mind automatically because you see his transformation of his body and they used to do a lot of gross things with it. And yeah, it's a cringy one, but it's a good one too. I don't watch it very often because I think with him as a fly, it's just nasty. Every time they show, him changing, throwing up, or all this weird, stuff that happens in that movie, it's a gross one. Another good one, a lot of people don't like. I sat through all three of them. It was a couple months ago. Human Centipede. Another one that's just like, it's just over the top. It's real cringy, but the first one was really good. Second one was not bad. The third one it completely fell off. That's the bad thing with horror movies. They can't have too many, extra movies after part 3 or 4 because they just start to fall off. They lose traction and whatnot. But so coming at number 7 is body horror. Oof, this one might just, get some of you rubbed the wrong way, but coming at number 6 is the slasher horror genre, which, okay, I know some of you are like, oh, I'm gonna turn it off right now. Don't turn it off. Hear me out. They're still good. Don't get me wrong. These focus on the serial killers, such as the Freddy Kruegers, the Michael Myers, the Jasons, where the target victims are usually the teens, the young adults, and they're good. But this is where the horror genre kind of overlaps with each other because, you see the slashers, they're kind of laughable, so it kind of falls into that comedy, but not so much. But, it's just kind of out there. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I do like a good slasher. But again, it's not something I would go to, to watch, even though there's some really good classic slashers out there. But again, it's really hard to come up with something new because you've seen most of them. You just got to get creative, and there's been some good ones since, the early era of the slasher genre, that have come around, like Art the Clown and Terrifier. That was, a slasher, but it also falls into another category as well that I'll get into a second. They do come up once in a while, but for me, coming at number 6 is the slasher genre. Coming in at number 5 on my rankings is the gore horror genre. I'll be honest, I love a good gore horror movie, just because of the practical effects, because let's just be honest, the gore genre is mostly about, the fascination with the human body and what it can go through and withstand, and it's very fun to watch. Movies like Hostel come to mind. The Saw franchise was really good. That's another good example of the gore genre. A lot of people don't like it. My son probably put that at the very bottom of his list if he was to do one of these. But for me, number 5 is a good one because I do like watching them from time to time, but it's just when I don't really got to think. There's not a whole lot of story behind it. It's just good visuals. And so with that, coming at number 5 is the gore genre. Here we go. Coming in at number 4 is the monster horror genre. Now you're probably thinking, well, what are the monsters out there? Well, actually, there's a lot of different monster genres out there that come to mind. You got to think about like the werewolves, the vampires, the zombies, the overall monsters. Like, for example, Godzilla. Technically, that's a monster in the horror universe, just not the Matthew Broderick one. That one doesn't count. That one just to be erased. But I'm talking about the real Godzilla movies. Werewolves, vampires, aliens. I think that's sci-fi. That's dark fantasy. Those are always good. I always like a good monster movie because they're just fun to watch because you can really let your imagination go, and you really have a lot more freedom when you go into the monster universe because there are no boundaries really, because you can really, it's whatever your mind can deal with and put out there. It's a lot of fun. So coming in at number 4 is the monster horror genre. Oh boy, we're into the top 3. At number 3 is the psychological horror genre. These are the ones that rely heavily on mental and emotional fear. A lot of these movies requires actors to be very good to really care to sort of help you get into their mind so that you really you're experiencing what they're going through. And when you really start to think about it, the really good movies that are out there in the psychological horror genre. They're really led by really, really good actors. You know, like for example, let's start off with the classic, Psycho. You know, it's psychological, you know, so is Silence of the Lambs. You know, that one won awards. You know, some people didn't even know to categorize that as horror, but it actually truly is, because you're following Hannibal Lecter. And, you know, The Shining. What more do you have to say? A good psychological one. All those movies have very strong actors that have to put you in the character's mindset. So coming in at number 3 is psychological horror. The final two, these two I could flip back and forth because they're my two favorite genres. That's why they're ranked 1 and 2. I could flip them tomorrow and I wouldn't be able to argue against it. But for right now, for this video, what I'm going to go with is coming in at number 2 is the paranormal horror genre. Because, you know, what you can't actually touch is what makes it scary, but you know it's there. You know, monsters that you can only see. You know, not necessarily even see, because in some of these movies that have come out, you can't see anything. You can only hear them or whatever, and that's what makes them scary. You know, haunted houses, possessions, exorcisms, you know, are what make up this genre. So when you think of those types of movies, you think of like The Conjuring, you know, The Omen, you know, is another really good one. Paranormal Activity is another really good one, where it's you can't see anything. It's just you're hearing all kinds of weirdness, and it's just, you know, for me, that's real stuff. That's like, you know, leave a light on, especially when you watch one of these, because your mind's just playing tricks on you, and that's what's fun about the paranormal genre. So coming at number 2 is the paranormal genre. Number 1. A lot of you are going to say, oh my gosh, no, that can't be number 1. But again, this is my list. This is what I think is number 1 as far as the horror genre, and that's the found footage genre. Yes, there are some crappy ones out there, but let's be real. The ones that did it right, they made you use your mind and your imagination, not just show it all. So if you look at how I ranked everything, you know, it's from visuals all the way down to, you have to use your mind. That's why number 1 and 2 can almost go hand in hand, because it really is. You look at, you know, some good found footage ones like The Taking of Deborah Logan, which is a really good one that deals with possession, you know, which is falls under paranormal. You know, Blair Witch Project. You know, that movie, when it came out, hey, again, I'm going to date myself, but when that movie came out, we all thought it was real because the internet was brand new and they had total control of what they wanted to put out there. So you didn't know if it was real or not. It was just well done. I don't care what anybody says, but it's the fact that you couldn't see a whole lot of anything. You just had to let your mind go, and that's what makes the found footage genre so good, because a good found footage director isn't going to just flat out show you everything. It might give you a little glimpse, if anything, and you just let your mind wander. What the heck could it be? And that's why I like the found footage genre so much. You know, so coming at number 1, the found footage genre. So there you have it, my top 8 horror movie sub-genres. What do you think? Am I way out there? Am I off base? Or, you know, do I actually make some sense? Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. You know, tell me what your ranking would be if you took these 8 genres and you ranked them yourself. Put them out there and let's have a good discussion. But in my head and the way my mind works and everything, this is the way I've ranked them. So let me know what you all think. Until next time, go watch a scary movie.